Chapter 1, The Candidate. The first time Amelia Hart met Lucien Moretti, she thought he looked less like a businessman and more like the villain in a movie women secretly rooted for. He walked into her office with the confidence of a man who had never heard the word no and had no intention of learning it. Every head in the building turned when he passed. Amelia hated men like that. Unfortunately, she also found them attractive. "Mr. Moretti," she said as he sat across from her desk. "Miss Hart." His dark eyes studied her with unsettling focus. Most clients looked around her office, admired the city skyline, checked their phones. Lucien looked only at her. It felt like being placed under a microscope. "I hear you're the best political strategist in the city," he said. "I hear you're rich enough to buy the city." His lips twitched. "Good. Then we won't waste each other's time." Amelia leaned back. "Tell me why you're here." "I'm entering politics." She almost laughed. "You're serious?" "Completely." "Why?" "Power." The blunt honesty caught her off guard. Most politicians wrapped ambition in noble speeches. Lucien delivered it like a weather report. "You know you're supposed to pretend you're helping people?" she asked. "You know you're supposed to pretend you don't enjoy arguing with me?" Amelia blinked. The meeting had lasted 6 minutes. Somehow he'd already figured her out. Dangerous, she thought. Very dangerous. Yet by the end of the hour, she'd signed the contract. As Lucien stood to leave, he paused by the door. "One more thing." "What?" "You look prettier when you're annoyed." Amelia threw a pen at him. He caught it without looking and walked away laughing. Her assistant immediately appeared in the doorway. "Please tell me you're not developing a crush on the billionaire." Amelia stared at the closed door. "Absolutely not." The problem was that she wasn't entirely convinced. What Amelia didn't know was that Lucien spent the entire drive home staring at her campaign photo on his tablet. "Interesting," he murmured. His driver glanced nervously in the mirror. Whenever Lucien used that tone, someone's life usually changed forever. This time, it would be Amelia's. And neither of them knew just how dangerous that would become. Hook, Amelia thought she'd signed a campaign contract. In reality, she'd just signed herself into a war. Chapter 2, Secrets Beneath the Surface. 3 weeks later, Amelia discovered her first secret. It happened at 2 a.m. while she reviewed financial reports. Most campaign managers would have delegated the work. Amelia trusted nobody. Which was why she noticed the discrepancy. Then another. Then 10 more. Her eyes narrowed. The numbers didn't add up. Shell companies appeared and disappeared. Millions moved through accounts that technically shouldn't exist. Entire transactions vanished from official records. The deeper she dug, the worse it became. By sunrise she was staring at evidence that could send powerful people to prison. Including her client. She stormed into Lucien's penthouse without warning. His security team stepped aside immediately. Apparently everyone in the building feared her almost as much as they feared him. Lucien sat in the kitchen drinking coffee. He didn't even look surprised. "Good morning." Amelia slapped a folder onto the table. "Explain." He glanced inside. "Ah. Ah? You found it." Amelia stared. "You knew?" "Eventually." "You're laundering money." "Among other things." She almost screamed. Instead she lowered her voice because yelling felt too childish for the situation. "Are you a criminal?" Lucien considered it. "Technically?" "Lucien." "Yes." The casual admission left her speechless. Most criminals denied everything. Lucien confessed like they were discussing weekend plans. "You should be panicking." "Why?" "Because I know." He leaned back. "And what are you going to do?" Amelia opened her mouth. Then stopped. Because she honestly didn't know. She should leave. Call the authorities. Burn the contract. Instead she remained standing there. Lucien smiled slowly. Exactly. I hate that smile. No, you don't. He was infuriating. Worse, he was right. Amelia hated many things about Lucien Moretti. His smile wasn't one of them. Hours later she left the penthouse carrying more questions than answers. She didn't notice the black SUV following her. Lucien did. From the penthouse window, his expression darkened. Someone was watching Amelia. And in his world, that was a death sentence. Just not for her. Hook, Amelia had discovered Lucien's darkest secret. Unfortunately, someone else had discovered her. Chapter 3, The Night Everything Changed. Amelia noticed the SUV for the first time 3 days later. It appeared outside her office. Then outside her apartment. Then outside her favorite coffee shop. At first she convinced herself it was a coincidence. By the fourth sighting, she knew better. She was smart enough to recognize surveillance when she saw it. She just wasn't prepared for what came next. It happened shortly after midnight. She had worked late, which wasn't unusual. Campaign season meant sleep became optional. The city streets were nearly empty as she parked outside her apartment building. The moment she stepped onto the sidewalk, she felt it. Instinct. The sensation of being watched. Her heart accelerated. The SUV sat across the street. The doors opened. 4 men emerged. One carried a gun. Amelia froze. For half a second nobody moved. Then survival took over. She ran. Footsteps thundered behind her. A bullet shattered a nearby window. Glass exploded across the pavement. Amelia turned a corner and nearly collided with someone. Strong hands caught her shoulders. Easy. She looked up. Lucien. Relief hit so hard her knees almost gave out. Lucien, another gunshot echoed. Lucien's expression instantly changed. The warmth vanished. Something cold and terrifying replaced it. He pulled Amelia behind him. Stay here. What are you doing? Solving a problem. The answer should not have sounded as ominous as it did. Lucien stepped into the street. The attackers immediately recognized him. Amelia watched their confidence disappear. One man actually took a step backward. That terrified her more than the gun. Because it meant they were more afraid of Lucien than death. You made a mistake, Lucien said quietly. The men raised their weapons. Amelia blinked. Suddenly half a dozen black vehicles appeared from nowhere. Armed security poured onto the street. The attackers realized they were trapped. One tried running. He didn't get far. Within seconds the fight was over. Lucien walked back toward Amelia. His suit remained perfectly neat. As if violence simply adjusted itself around him. Are you hurt? He asked. Amelia stared. I almost got murdered. So that's a no. She wanted to yell. Instead she burst into nervous laughter. Lucien looked confused. What's funny? The fact that you're somehow calmer than I am. You were never in danger. Amelia pointed at the shattered glass. There were bullets. And none hit you. That doesn't make me feel better. His gaze softened unexpectedly. It should. Before she could respond, Lucien brushed a strand of hair from her face. The gesture was oddly gentle. Especially from a man who probably ordered executions before breakfast. You're safe, he said. For some reason those 2 words affected her more than they should have. That night she woke up in a luxurious penthouse suite. Her first thought was confusion. Her second thought was panic. Her third thought was noticing Lucien sitting in a chair beside the bed. Watching her. Why are you staring at me? She asked. I wanted to make sure you woke up. Amelia groaned and covered her face with a pillow. That's incredibly creepy. Good morning to you too. Despite everything, she laughed. And that scared her almost as much as the attack itself. Because she was starting to feel comfortable around a man she absolutely should fear. Meanwhile, across the city, several powerful people received a message. It contained only 6 words. You touched the wrong woman. Every single one understood exactly who had sent it. And every single one was terrified. Hook, Amelia survived the attack. Her enemies did not survive Lucien's response. Chapter 4, The Devil's Partnership. 3 days later Amelia learned the truth. The attack wasn't random. It wasn't a robbery gone wrong or a case of mistaken identity. It was a message. Someone wanted leverage against Lucien Moretti. And unfortunately, Amelia had become his weakness. She stood in Lucien's office staring at a wall covered with photographs. Politicians. Business leaders. Criminal bosses. The most powerful people in the city. Some had red excess over their faces. Amelia decided not to ask what that meant. Who are they? She asked. Lucien stepped beside her. People who want me dead. That's a very long list. I've had a busy life. She rubbed her temples. Why am I involved? For the first time, Lucien hesitated. Because they know I care about you. Amelia blinked. What? What? You care about me? Lucien looked genuinely confused. Obviously. We've known each other for a month. And? Amelia opened her mouth. Then closed it. Then opened it again. That's not normal. Neither am I. Unfortunately, that answer made perfect sense. Over the following weeks their partnership intensified. Amelia handled public image. Lucien handled everything else. She built alliances with politicians. He built alliances with people politicians pretended didn't exist. Together they became frighteningly effective. Every victory felt exhilarating. Every problem they solved made them stronger. And every day they spent together blurred boundaries that should have remained firmly in place. One afternoon Amelia entered a conference room and found Lucien staring at her. Again. Do you ever get tired of doing that? She asked. No, why? He considered the question seriously. I enjoy looking at you. Amelia nearly walked into a wall. You can't just say things like that. Why not? Because normal people flirt differently. Lucien shrugged. Normal people are inefficient. She hated how hard it was not to laugh. Later that evening they attended a charity gala. Amelia wore a black dress. The moment she stepped into the ballroom, Lucien forgot whatever conversation he was having. He simply stared. A senator snapped his fingers in front of Lucien's face. Earth to Moretti. Lucien ignored him. Amelia approached. What? She asked. Nothing. You're staring again. I'm aware. The senator looked between them. Oh. Lucien didn't take his eyes off Amelia. Oh, indeed. Amelia felt heat rise into her cheeks. The worst part was that she liked it. She liked the attention. She liked the way he looked at her. She liked the dangerous excitement that followed him everywhere. It was a terrible idea. Which meant she was already in trouble. Because deep down, she suspected she was falling for him. And Lucien? Lucien had already fallen. He simply hadn't realized how far yet. Hook, Amelia was beginning to fall for the devil. The problem was that the devil was already obsessed. Chapter 5, Obsession is a dangerous thing. If Amelia was being honest with herself, the signs had been there from the beginning. She had simply chosen to ignore them. Lucien remembered everything she said. Every preference. Every habit. Every complaint. Every passing comment she made and forgot 5 minutes later. Unfortunately, Lucien never forgot anything. The realization hit her one afternoon during a campaign meeting. Someone offered her coffee. Before she could answer, Lucien spoke. She doesn't like coffee from that place. The room went silent. Amelia frowned. You know that? You told me. When? 37 days ago. The entire room stared at him. Lucien seemed confused by their reactions. Amelia buried her face in her hands. That wasn't even the worst part. A week later she mentioned wanting to visit a bookstore that had closed years ago. The next morning she discovered Lucien had bought the building. Bought it. An entire building. For a casual conversation. She marched into his office. Explain. Lucien looked up from paperwork. The bookstore? Yes, the bookstore. You said you liked it. So you bought it? Yes. Amelia stared. He stared back. Neither spoke. Finally she sighed. You realize that's insane. I've been informed. By who? Everyone. That somehow made it worse. Because Lucien knew he was insane. He simply didn't care. The scary thing wasn't his obsession. The scary thing was how quickly Amelia was becoming accustomed to it. That night she attended a private dinner with several influential politicians. Lucien couldn't come because of another meeting. At least, that was the plan. Halfway through dinner one of the politicians placed a hand on Amelia's lower back. The gesture was harmless. Polite. Normal. Unfortunately for him, Lucien arrived seconds later. The room temperature seemed to drop instantly. Amelia noticed immediately. So did everyone else. Lucien's gaze locked onto the politician's hand. The politician slowly removed it. Smart man. Lucien approached the table. Am I interrupting? No, everyone answered simultaneously. Amelia almost laughed. The fear was palpable. Lucien sat beside her. The politician spent the rest of the evening sweating. After dinner Amelia cornered Lucien outside. You scared him. I know. You did it on purpose. Yes. Why? Lucien looked genuinely surprised. He touched you. Amelia blinked. That's your explanation? It seems sufficient. You're impossible. His smile appeared. I've heard that before. Then he leaned down slightly. Mostly from you. For one dangerous second, Amelia forgot how to breathe. She hated that he could do that. She hated that she liked it even more. Because every day made leaving harder. And every day made Lucien more certain she never would. Meanwhile, enemies across the city were noticing something alarming. Lucien Moretti had always been dangerous. But now? Now he had something to lose. And men with something to lose often became the most dangerous of all. Hook, Lucien's enemies were preparing their next move. Unfortunately for them, they underestimated just how obsessed he had become. Chapter 6, The Kiss That Changed Everything. The tension finally exploded 3 weeks later. Not during a romantic dinner. Not during a dramatic confession. Not during some beautiful sunset. It happened during an argument. A very loud argument. A very angry argument. The kind where both people were too stubborn to back down. That's a terrible idea, Amelia snapped. It's the best option. It's reckless. It's effective. It's stupid. It worked. That's not the point. The campaign office had long since emptied. Only the two of them remained. Standing on opposite sides of a conference table. Lucien crossed his arms. You always assume you're right. Because I usually am. His lips twitched. Arrogant. Coming from you? The hypocrisy was almost impressive. For a moment neither spoke. Then Lucien moved closer. One step. Then another. Amelia's pulse accelerated. This was becoming a problem. A very attractive problem. You're angry, he observed. No kidding. I like when you argue with me. She groaned. Of course you do. It means you're passionate. It means you're annoying. His smile widened. That too. Amelia should have walked away. Instead, she stayed exactly where she was. Lucien stopped inches from her. Close enough that she could smell his cologne. Close enough that she could hear his breathing. Close enough to be dangerous. Neither looked away. The room became silent. The air felt heavier somehow. Then Lucien said the worst possible thing. You're beautiful. Amelia's heart betrayed her immediately. The idiot organ practically launched itself into orbit. Don't. Don't what? Say things like that. Why? Because I need to stay angry. His eyes darkened. And if you don't? The question hung between them. Neither moved. Neither spoke. Then Amelia grabbed his tie and kissed him. The second their lips met, months of tension detonated. Neither of them had expected it. Neither of them was prepared. Lucien made a low sound that almost resembled relief. His hand settled on her waist, pulling her closer. The kiss deepened instantly. Intense. Hungry. Dangerous. Like everything else between them. When they finally separated, both were breathing harder. For once, Lucien looked slightly stunned. Amelia pointed at him. Don't get used to that. His expression brightened immediately. I'm absolutely getting used to that. She laughed despite herself. The sound seemed to affect him more than the kiss had. His entire expression softened. For a moment he didn't look like a criminal mastermind. He looked like a man completely captivated by a woman. The realization sent a strange warmth through her chest. Then Lucien ruined it. Do it again. Amelia burst out laughing. You're unbelievable. Was that a no? She kissed him again. And somehow that answer was enough. Neither realized someone was watching from across the street. Someone who immediately picked up a phone. Someone who smiled when the call connected. Because Lucien Moretti had finally exposed his greatest weakness. And now the hunt could truly begin. Hook, Lucien thought finding Amelia was the best thing that ever happened to him. Soon, he would discover it was also the most dangerous. Chapter 9, The Truth That Broke Everything. Amelia discovered the truth by accident. The most devastating revelations usually happened that way. No dramatic confession. No villainous monologue. Just one folder left in the wrong place. She wasn't even looking for anything suspicious. Lucien was in a meeting. She was searching for campaign reports. Instead, she found documents marked confidential. Normally, she would have ignored them. Normally. But something caught her eye. Her name. Amelia frowned and opened the file. Then her entire world tilted. The first document was dated 8 months before they met. The second was dated 6 months before. Then 4. Then 2. Hundreds of pages followed. Surveillance reports. Background investigations. Psychological profiles. Detailed analyses of her habits, routines, preferences, and relationships. Amelia's stomach dropped. Because Lucien had been watching her long before she became his strategist. Long before the campaign. Long before the first meeting. Long before everything. The office door opened. Lucien entered. The moment he saw the folder, he stopped. Neither spoke. The silence felt suffocating. Finally, Amelia held up the papers. What is this? Lucien's face revealed everything. And that hurt more than any lie. You knew me before we met. No answer. How long? A pause. Then. Almost a year. The room spun. A year. An entire year. Every memory suddenly felt different. Every conversation. Every coincidence. Every moment. Tell me I'm wrong. Lucien remained silent. Tell me this wasn't planned. Still nothing. Amelia laughed. A broken, bitter sound. Oh my God. She finally understood. The campaign. The introduction. The contract. The opportunity. It had all been orchestrated. Not every detail. But enough. Enough to bring her into his world. Enough to keep her there. Enough to make her fall in love. For the first time since she'd met him, Lucien looked scared. Actually scared. Amelia. No. His jaw tightened. Please listen. No. She stepped back. Then another. Then another. Like distance could somehow protect her. Was any of it real? The question nearly destroyed him. She saw it happen. Saw the pain flash across his face. Everything after we met was real. After? Yes. The answer wasn't helping. It was making everything worse. Tears burned behind her eyes. Not because she wanted to cry. Because she was furious. Heartbroken. Humiliated. You manipulated my life. I protected you. That's not the same thing. For the first time, Lucien raised his voice. It is to me. The words echoed through the room. And suddenly Amelia understood the tragedy of Lucien Moretti. He genuinely didn't see the difference. To him, control and protection had become the same thing. Love and possession had blurred together years ago. And somewhere along the way he'd convinced himself that obsession was affection. Maybe it was. Maybe it wasn't. Either way, she couldn't stay. Not now. Not after this. She walked toward the door. Lucien didn't move. Didn't stop her. Didn't beg. Somehow that hurt most of all. At the doorway she paused. Waiting. Hoping. Praying he'd say something. Anything. But he remained frozen. A king watching his kingdom collapse. So she left. And for the first time in years, Lucien Moretti was completely alone. The city felt the consequences immediately. Because heartbreak made Amelia cry. Heartbreak made Lucien dangerous. Within 48 hours, 3 rival operations disappeared. Within 72, several corrupt officials resigned unexpectedly. Within a week, half the criminal underworld was terrified. Lucien wasn't starting wars. He wasn't seeking revenge. He was simply existing without Amelia. And somehow that was worse. The man stopped sleeping. Stopped eating. Stopped smiling. His empire continued functioning because everyone else was too scared to tell him it was falling apart. Then the attacks began. His enemies saw weakness. Saw opportunity. Saw blood in the water. And they struck. Explosions. Assassinations. Sabotage. The city descended into chaos. The empire Amelia helped build started cracking apart. And Lucien? Lucien welcomed the destruction. Because without her, none of it mattered anymore. Meanwhile, Amelia watched everything unfold from a distance. She rented a small apartment under a false name. Ignored phone calls. Ignored news reports. Ignored the growing ache in her chest. She told herself she was done. Finished. Free. Then one night she saw a headline. A warehouse owned by Lucien had been attacked. Several people were dead. Rumors suggested more attacks were coming. Amelia stared at the article for a long time. Then she closed her laptop. Then opened it again. Then closed it. Then groaned. Because she already knew the truth. She still loved him. The manipulative idiot. The obsessive criminal. The infuriating man who bought bookstores because she mentioned them once. She loved all of him. Even the broken parts. Especially the broken parts. And that realization terrified her. Because loving Lucien Moretti had always been dangerous. Now it might be deadly. Yet despite everything, she found herself reaching for her phone. Because deep down she knew one thing. If Lucien fell, she'd fall too. And somewhere across the city, Lucien sat alone in darkness. Staring at a photograph of Amelia. Unaware that she was about to come back. Unaware that the war was only beginning. Hook, Amelia left to save herself. Now she must decide whether she's willing to risk everything to save the man who broke her heart. The end. This was brought to you by Romance Hobbit. If this story moved you, subscribe. A new story is already waiting for you.